welcome back to Folklore, the official gathering place for newbies, novices, and OG diehard fans of the golden age of primetime. I'm your host, Jet, still viewing and reviewing the soapiest, suchiest primetime storylines of 1982. We're back on the West Coast doing the absolute most with our first ever block party. So whether you're new to this or true to this, sit back and enjoy. Tell the kids it's time to play outside or out of sight. Tell babe no questions, suggestions, or concerns for the next 25 to 35 minutes. Everyone else in earshot, cool, quiet, or kicked out are your only options because you are watching our story. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Folklore. Hello, gorgeous. Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Folklore. I hope your day is shaping up well. I hope your summer is even better. There's something about this time of year that just really excites me. I'm a full-grown woman. I still wake up at the end of May with excitement in my heart. Like, oh my God, it's summer. Girl, that don't mean nothing. I'm still going to work almost every day. I'm trying to study, educate myself. I'm trying to do a whole lot of things. But one of the things I refuse to miss out on is vintage primetime soap opera. These shows have become my absolute joy. And today's episode is no different. I really enjoyed today's episode. It's that giddiness I get. So here we are watching season 4, episode 12 of Knots Landing called Block Party. Yes, it brought up a couple of memories for me, but it also gives me the same sort of excitement that I get from watching Dynasty. I wasn't expecting to be laughing out loud this whole time. This is kind of a serious episode, but for whatever reason, I found the humor in it. And I hope you will too. Go ahead and pour yourself up something bubbly and bright as we jump into season 4, episode 12 of Knots Landing, Block Party. My goodness, that just reminded me. The list of movies I had no business watching as a kid grows every single day, one of which was House Party. I watched every version of that movie and enjoyed it. And I promise you, this was well before I hit 4th grade. I had seen the movies either from behind the couch or sitting in the living room with my Gen X babysitters, quietly minding my business and enjoying the film. On Knots Landing, they've also had kickbacks or just sort of backyard parties. They never really had an outdoor party where you get to meet the rest of the neighborhood. I was a little bit confused this episode because there was buku people in this cul-de-sac, but I would assume that everyone on Seaview Circle, no. Okay, I'm not going to get into semantics, but Seaview Circle implies that that is just the cul-de-sac. Perhaps there's a Seaview Drive or Seaview Way, Parkway, something like that, where they invited the rest of the neighborhood because there were tons of people. Very diverse, very SoCal. I love a good old-fashioned block party. We don't have them as much. I feel like growing up, I had them. I lived in a little bit of a smaller town, so it was not uncommon for someone to have a birthday party or a backyard party, and it would spill over into the street. But I do remember on occasions where it would be the 4th of July or we go to the next town over for Juneteenth and people would have somewhat of a block party. It is a wonderful way to get to know your neighbors. That's what you would have thought was going to happen on this episode once you read the title. I didn't learn anything new about anybody I didn't already know. Let me rewind that. I didn't learn anything new about anyone new. I learned new things about old people, but nothing new. I didn't even learn any new neighbor's name. That's neither here nor there. Go ahead and buckle in so we can enjoy this episode. I have a lot of questions for you OGs. Remember, you can always reach out to me in the show notes. There is a link where you can send your girl a text or you can send us a voicemail. I was actually inspired by one of the voice notes you will see on the next couple of episodes once I get everything together. I appreciate your patience in advance. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and jump into this episode of Knots Landing. I don't want to think too much about it, but I noticed on this episode, as soon as I pushed play, there was a recap. I feel like this has happened a couple of times before, but it's not the commonplace on Knots Landing, or I've just started it later. I'm not really sure why, but I don't necessarily mind the recap because it can be very helpful, especially if it takes me a little bit longer to get to the show. But I'm going to have to mind my P's and Q's because they almost caught me at the end of this episode. They started talking about the next one, and I'm like, hold up. This is not how we do things. You were throwing off my busy schedule. But at the top of this episode, we find a lot of ruckus going on in the cul-de-sac. They are preparing for the block party of the century. You would think they're inviting the greater part of LA to this little block party. There is a stage being erected. There is a sign that says old-fashioned back east block party. Benefit Knots Landing Community Playhouse. Homemade foods, crafts, games, and something else I can't. Back east seemed weird, but this episode isn't exactly subtle. Okay, we need to build the backstory for good old Mack and his baby Jerry Curl, which I still very much enjoy. But he and Michael are putting up a sign. Kenny is building a stage so that CG and her budding pop star career can perform any and everywhere. It is still a little bit shocking to me that a pop star in the early 80s would be at a restaurant and a block party. But everybody's got to start somewhere. Britney Spears did a whole mall tour, if I remember correctly. Destiny's Child used to perform at the rodeo, which is not that uncommon, actually. It is what it is. You got to start where you start, and every stage is a stage that she needs to be on. And Kenny is taking this ish seriously. You think Quincy Jones or somebody. He is taking himself extremely seriously. So after Mack and Michael set up this, the sign, I guess, that you would see as you entered into the block party, Kenny starts motioning for them to come over and help. Before we get to Kenny, hold on, let me tell you this. It seems like everyone has their role to play. There's a lot of hustle and bustle. I cannot stress that enough. There's people in and out of everybody's houses. Lots of extras this episode. So Mack and Michael seem to be in charge of setting up the signage. Kenny seems to be setting up the sound equipment and the stage. And Richard is stunting on them. Say what you will about Richard and his spending habits. Everybody's talking about how much money he spends. What they're not saying is that the food he spends the money on ain't delicious. So I don't know why I expected anything less of him. He has a beautiful hand-painted sign that says Daniels in front of his house. As the episode progresses, he is stunting on the rest of the neighbors. If y'all ain't been down to Daniels to get yourself a plate and have a highball after 11 p.m. to listen to CG, you are missing out, baby. He wants everybody in the cul-de-sac to know he is that dude. His restaurant is that restaurant. And if you're not involved with one or the other, you're totally missing out. Mack is in a bit of a hurry this episode. He doesn't have time to help Kenny set up any of the other sound systems or whatever it is he's working on, because he is going to go pick up his father, who is from where? You guessed it, back east. I love a good old backstory. I don't know. I guess because the World Cup is in the U.S. and most of us were not really aware of it. No shade. There's a lot of things going on in the summer in the U.S. But one of the things that I have noticed and I've realized and really enjoyed is that people from all over the world, whether you are very, very cultured or this is your first time traveling outside of your respective country, everybody has a little bit of a perception of people from other places. And it's been really fun to see some of those thoughts be confirmed and some of them being rebuilt. It's really interesting. This episode, we are reminded that Mack comes from a dual heritage. He is Irish, I thought, and Italian, but he is definitely all New York all day. And he's going to remind you that mostly in the way that he speaks. His father, however, is a totally different sort of East Coaster. We'll get into him in a second. Before we go any further, we got to jump into our bitty bit players. Chip the Triple Dipper is back up to his old scheme. You'll be happy to know that Diana is well. She is recovering like a champ. She's actually really, really bored around the house. So she's back to being a complete and total pain in the butt. Walking around in her gown when she's supposed to be laying down. She's all in the mix, drawing, I guess, reminding us that she is a fashion designer student, whatever you call it, whatever. Her 2-bit love interest, Chip the Dip, is pissing everybody off on the cul-de-sac. Actually, he's not pissing everybody off. He's pissing Kenny, who thinks he's Quincy Jones, off. See, what had happened was Kenny is trying to solidify his position as a producer for CG. And I understand that he's put in the work. He's put in the man hours. He has collaborated with her. They are indeed a team. It's very difficult for me to even think about CG without thinking about Kenny, despite his complete lack of rhythm and swag. So I find it hard to believe he's a producer, but we're just going to let that be. It is what it is. Kenny and Chip get into it over this world-class performance that CG is going to put on at the cul-de-sac. Chip feels like the stage should be higher. She is a star. He wants her elevated. The whole world needs to see her. Kenny gently reminds him that, number one, he ain't put in no coin to build this here stage. Number two, he's not the boss of Kenny. And number three, it's a freaking block party, homeboy. There's going to be 50 people here tops. We're not trying to impress the world here. What are you going on about? Chip lets Kenny know that he is invited. Oh God, what's the producer's name? The producer, you know the one, Munson. Munson is coming and I want CG in the very best light. I want her tippy top of the stage. I want her to be seen from the highest seats. Kenny's like, what seats are you talking? It's a block party, you weirdo. There are no seats. They get into it. Kenny's like, I'm not going to sit here jaw jacking with you. If you want the stage higher, you're going to have to build it yourself. The Chip has a nerve to be appalled. He is so good at running this little game that he runs that he is not used to the conflict. Kenny doesn't seem to be attracted to him, so he can't woo him. You're going to have to actually produce something. Instead of doing that, Chip decides he's going to continue on with the sure thing. Sure thing being number one, Diana. He goes to check on her. He seems to be the only person that she'll listen to. Her mother tells her to go lay back down. She don't want to hear that. Chip comes in smelling like other people's soap because he does not have the money to pay for it himself. And he says, honey, you really should be resting right now. So she goes right upstairs to rest. She is putty in his scheming, conniving hands. You know who else is? Our good sister CG. It's so funny. I'm watching this with the subtitles on sometimes. And they keep calling her UCG. Like if he goes, you see CG. It spells out UCG. Anyway, part of this whole scheme is convincing all the women in Chip's life that he is busy all day, every day, working towards a very specific goal. Now, he is smart enough to keep the goal one and the same. The goal is to make CG a global superstar. According to Lily Mae, he is a hardworking publicist who is doing his very best to get the word out about this budding little starlet. According to CG, he is also a publicist / manager / boyfriend who is protecting her image by not letting the world know that they are together. And he is working night and day to make sure she is in the best light and that the best people come by to see her so that she can have a Whitney Houston style career. Diana also believes that he is a publicist / manager who is working day and night diligently to make sure that his client CG is put in the best possible light. He has to schmooze with certain people. He has to pound the pavement all day. So it's a wonder he's never caught. Actually, it's not a wonder that he's never caught because everybody believes that he is doing a job. So he can be gone for several hours a day, spending quality time with one of these three women, and the other ones are none the wiser because he is quote unquote doing his job. So he makes out with Diana and her borrowed kidney upstairs in the bed, but he has the balls to try to pressure her into a little bit more, saying, you know, honey, I think I'm just starting to take this so seriously. He does all that. He's keeping Diana on the hook. Once he's got enough of what he's gotten from her, now that he's all hot and bothered, I suppose, he goes over to CG's apartment, disrobes, climbs in her sheets, booty butthole naked, and waits for her to come back from whatever she does all day. After they make love, he's like, oh, by the way, honey, Ted Munson is coming to see you tomorrow at the Hollywood Bowl, a.k.a. Seaview Circle, in front of Eileen's and them house. But he told me something very interesting. So he starts to feed CG this BS about how Ted Munson says it's super complicated to be a producer / publicist, and that he basically I'm paraphrasing this. You can go back and watch it if you want. CG baby, you need to sign a service contract. The way that Chip explains this is that Gary and Kenny are loose cannon. If they continue to battle one another, the whole Jeff Munson deal may never happen, thus ruining CG's chance at stardom. So if they sign they being CG and Chip sign a service contract, he'll be in charge of all the deals. It'll go through him. That way there's no delay and there's no backbiting. There's no arguing between Kenny and Gary. Just let me handle it. So mind you, they are booty butthole naked in bed as he's dropping this on her, and he's acting all distressed. And he's like, oh, honey, I can't give you all the details. I don't really understand it that much. But Jeff Munson is the one who brought it up to me. And if he thinks it's good, I think it's good. So she's like, okay, we have it here. I just so happen to have it right here. He pulls it out of her bedside table because he don't have one because he ain't got no job. Or I got no house because he ain't got no job. And she quickly scans over the paper and she clocks the most important part of this whole deal. She sees the numbers 25 followed by a percent sign. She's like, what the actual... Chip, this says that you're going to take 25% of my profits. He's like, yeah, honey, that's standard. That's what Jeff Munson says. It's, blase, blase. He's talking fast. And she's got on those rose-colored glasses. But I said to myself, I've been watching the Kardashians for almost 20 years, and I know that Kris Jenner only takes 10%. 25% seems egregious. Seems like a lot. Some people don't think 25% is a lot, but like, dude, what if 25% of your body was missing? What if 25% of your money was missing? What if 25% of your day is gone? That is a chunk. That is a significant character building chunk of whatever it is it's representing. Unfortunately, CG thinks this man loves her. She believes the lie he is feeding her. He is working hard. He's actually hardly working. Chip has got it made. What a bum. The Kevin Federline of Knots Landing. I don't know how he managed to finesse. It's easy to call him a jerk and a loser, but there is a talent in being an F-boy. To be a proper hobosexual, you have to understand who has the amenities and who's going to continue to acquire amenities. He's picked the perfect target, and CG's none the wiser. Now, eventually, he and CG get a little bit beside themselves at the block party, or right before the block party, their kissy boo-boo face and a set of eyes happens to see them. But before that can go down, we need to rewind just a little bit. Back to Mack. Mack and Michael managed to dip out of helping Kenny. They go upstairs and Michael is polite enough to wait outside the bathroom as Mack goes in to freshen up. He's going to pick up his father, not at the airport, at the bus station. His daddy don't really believe in planes and trains and stuff like that. He's kind of cheap, and plus he just feels really weird about not having wheels on the ground and being able to stop. I totally understand you, Mack's daddy. So what happens is Michael is just asking the standard questions that a curious kid who admires someone asks, and Mack is answering all the questions so that we, the audience, understand his relationship and his standing with his dad. Now, he seems pretty excited that his father is on his way, and he's telling Michael, yeah, I'm going to pick him up at the bus station because he hates planes. And Michael's like, well, what is he like? Mack says, he's kind of cheap. He's kind of this and that. Michael either asks him if he's like him, or he says, oh, he kind of sounds like you. Mack is in the bathroom taking a whore bath, as best I can tell. I thought he was pulling a Mr. Rogers, and he went upstairs to put on a more comfortable house cardigan. That's not the case. And while I just said the word cardigan, somebody please explain to me, all you OGs, why the hell everybody in SoCal is wearing sweaters year round. Listen, I get it. As someone who's born and raised in Texas, living in the desert most of my life, I long for sweaters and cozy clothing because it is quite comfortable and quiet as kept. Everybody in the Southwest knows that we probably have the ability to withstand a little more heat than the average person in the U.S. So yes, sometimes you see people in long sleeve shirts when it's 85 degrees. It's not really that hot to us. But SoCal in Texas is not that different. climate wise. Granted, they are near the beach, so I'm assuming it's slightly cool. Actually, no, that's not true. It's only cooler by the beach if you're actually at the beach. If you're inland, you don't feel that like that. But for the last 5 or 6 episodes, they are dressed like they live in New England. Sweaters head to toe all the time. So Mack, mind you, he's been outside moving this ain't a 2026 banner that you get printed at the laser printer shop and hang on like an aluminum post. This is a real deal Holyfield built out of 200-year-old wood signage. And it stands well over 10 feet tall. So imagine how hot and musty you get in a normal day. Let's say he had on some booty shorts and a tank top. He would be hot and musty from moving all that around. This man had on denim and a sweater, so I know he ain't the freshest, but he goes upstairs to quote unquote freshen up. He simply takes off his sweater and puts it back on. He's putting it back on. I'm judging him for filth. Michael is waiting patiently outside the door to hear what Mack's daddy, or who rather Mack's daddy is. And Mack says, yeah, I guess I am kind of like my dad, but you can tell it makes him uncomfortable. It's the first time he's actually thought it in his mind that he is like his dad. So you don't see the joy completely leave his face, but you immediately understand that, okay, I like this dude, baby. I don't like him enough to want to be like him. So Max makes his way down to the good old Greyhound bus station, and we see a mustachioed and heavily eyebrowed man waiting amongst dozens of other people. As Mack in his doo-doo brown sweater slip into the bus station, his father hollers out, hey, who are you here for? Mack sees him and he turns from a 38-year-old man to a 5-year-old little boy. He is happy to see his pappy, his daddy. Runs up, hugs him, brings him back to the cul-de-sac. You're just in time for a little get-together. I'm going to introduce you to my friends. Whoop, whoop, de whoop. I apologize. I said he took him back to the cul-de-sac. He did not. He took him back to his apartment. Mack's father, as we learn as the show progresses, he would be the Irish part of Mack's dual heritage. We know Mack has a dual heritage because I believe his last name is McKenzie. His first name is not. I forgot his first name. I'm going to rewind and see. But he told us this early on. We knew this last season, right? But this season, his father tells the audience and reminds Mack that not only is Mack half Italian, he is half Irish, but he's also Scottish, which didn't sound funny at all, but it bear with me, okay? Have you guys ever heard my Scottish accent? No. You know why? Because I don't have a good Scottish accent, and I'm not going to play myself and disrespect an entire country by pantomiming one. Mack's father, or the actor who plays him, has decided that he is best represented with a vaguely Scottish, Irish drawl. Think Forrest Gump if he tried to do a Scottish accent. I didn't really understand this, and I said, this Jet, is what happens when you have a bunch of theater nerds write a show and a bunch of thespians come on and act on the show. They want to know the backstory. What is my motivation? What is this? Baby, Sean Connery, you are not. Hell, Colin Farrell, you are not. But we are meant to believe that this elderly man from the East Coast, who we know from this episode was actually born in the United States, somehow managed to obtain and maintain a faux Scottish accent for the better part of 6 decades. Make it make sense. I can actually make it make sense. There's a scene a little bit later where Mack explains to Karen that his dad has sort of adopted this accent. This seems to be a trauma response since Mack's mother has recently passed away and his sister, Megan, no longer speaks to their father. So let's go back to Mack being excited about his dad. His dad comes down. Mack takes him to his apartment to get settled in. They briefly chatter, chit, and it seems good. There doesn't seem to be any tension. I mean, there's no heavy tension. There's a little bit, but it seems like Mack is receiving his father well, so his father is behaving well. You can tell there's a little something in the air that they're dancing around. But that'll have to wait because Mack needs to introduce his daddy to his new lady and her lovely, lovely friends. And like I said, he came at the perfect time. The block party's about to pop off. And on my second go of watching this, I realized this is not just a block party, it's a fundraiser. I ain't never been in a block party where I had to pay for anything. This is like a Not a car. It reminds me of something you do like in a high school parking lot or in a high school gym to raise money that way. I don't think I've ever noticed a neighborhood being like, "Hey, we're raising money for the rec center, $25 or whatever." You get a little bracelet, you get to walk around and play all the games. All right, there's so much going on at this event. People are coming and going, coming and going. Like I said, there's a ton of extras this episode. The gang decides they're going to sit down and have a meal with Mac's dad, and he's telling all the fun stories about Mac as a kid. And turns out he was also called Mac at some point. But then McDonald's came around and they had to make a decision. So Mac's father, whose name I guess it might be Patrick. I think that might be Mac's name as well, but there's another M. So his name actually starts with an M. He don't want to tell everybody what his name is. His dad and he both go by Mac, and he was Little Mac. Dad was Big Mac until McDonald's came along and ruined everybody's life. So they Rochambeaued for it, and Little Mac won. It immediately reminds me of Crisscross, and it was the Mac Daddy and Daddy Mac. Okay, y'all. So my girl Lily Mae, since there's going to be a stage, she pulled out her instrument. Lily Mae is never going to pass up an opportunity to perform in front of anyone. I suppose she's riding high on the fact that she's going to perform on stage, and she knows Jeff Munson is coming. If she'll be damned if she missed an opportunity. So she blesses us with the hood classic, Pine Country. Prettiest thing I ever did see was a cloud drifting high in the pine country. One warm summer day, sun peeking through. Well, it was patchwork, but mostly was blue. I love this episode. I love it. I love it. I love it. Funny to watch Valine. Just she wants to evaporate every time her mama pulls out that damn instrument, and she's got to keep a straight-ish face. Oh my God, it's so funny. Ginger's there, and Ginger doesn't give her the stink eye like she gives. she everybody at the table, with the exception of Mac's daddy, seem to be embarrassed and just want this to end, but they're trying to be respectful because she's their elder. And upstairs, Diana and Chip are laying in bed, and these disrespectful little monsters have the nerves to start cackling. I can't stand y'all. This song is a bop. No, it's so funny. Okay, so introductions are made. Everybody knows that Mac's dad's in town. He and Mac go back to the apartments. And I might be mixing this up a little bit, but I feel like this is a point where Mac tells, no, 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 no. Actually, let me rewind it back. They don't just leave Karen's house and go home and go to bed because this is Mac after all. He is fresh off of banging his neighbor from across the hall. He is a recently reformed man, best I can tell. Actually, they haven't had a conversation about it. All I know is he was there for the family when Diana was absorbing Abby's kidney, but he's still Mac. So Mac and Daddy Mac decide they need to take the edge off. They're going to go to the spot. They go to a bar. Very strange. So there is a woman dancing on stage, and she's wearing some sort of belly dancing garb. She's putting on a show. I think there's a couple of band members. I don't really remember. There are a few women walking around, which I thought was odd because there's a different performer a little bit later on. And not to say that women don't visit these type of bars, but women generally don't hang out at bars like that. Like, we don't really want to go pay to listen to music while a lady dances in a bikini. That's just not the spot. But there's women there, and I'm like, okay, maybe I don't know everything about LA. I don't know what this is. It doesn't seem to be a strip club, but no one else is dancing. I guess that's the other part. And then there's a pool table. So in my mind, this is leaning more towards a male establishment. And as time goes on, nothing really happens. A bunch of nerds come in, men from, nerdy men in full suits, men in hard hats, women of various ages, all pretty good looking, just kind of hanging out. So Mac and his dad take a seat at the bar. Mac is dressed just like Mr. Rogers. I kid you not. He's got on like a burgundy sweater and a big butterfly collar underneath. He is Mr. Rogers. His daddy is Mr. Wino because he's like, give me a shot. Homeboy takes like 50 shots of double scotch back to back to back to back. And Mac is like, dang, are you okay, Dad? He's like, yeah. I just got to drink a lot of liquor really fast so that I can get drunk. And Mac doesn't bother to explain to him how that works. He's like, okay, cool. You drink at whatever speed you need to. So as the night progresses, they're just kind of shooting the breeze. Max still seems pretty excited to have his dad there. His dad is starting to crack a little bit though. You can tell he's not just drinking because he wants to get drunk because he's sad. He's working up the nerve to say something. His dad is lonely. The mom is dead. He knows that he doesn't have the best relationship with Mac. He also knows that his Mac's sister doesn't speak to him anymore. He had mentioned that he kind of wanted to just live in LA. Now there's really nothing left for him back east. You see the remorse. He wants to work through the problems, but he and Mac have never had this sort of relationship. So he says, Dad, all fathers and sons have problems. I mean, they're nothing. They don't even exist anymore. We don't have to talk about it. And Dad's like, no, we got to work through this. I'm not trying to be I don't want to be a loser, basically. He's not actually apologizing, but he's dancing around it. Well, as they're talking, it's about 11 o'clock. Mac orders his father a cup of coffee. He starts drinking it, and this girl is sitting by Mac, reminding him what time it is. Oh, it's 11. It's this and that. And I didn't actually think that was weird at first, but it turns out these are ladies of the night, and I suppose this establishment is meant to. It's a sure thing. If you come in there, this is me guessing, guys. You can watch it and make your own assumptions, but this is the vibe I get. If you come in there and you hang out, and if you're talking to these ladies, you understand what this is. They got a job to do. You're gonna need to pay them for that job. Mac and his father did not know this. They just want to get drunk. Well, the girls keep saying, "Well, hey, it's time to go. We've been waiting on you guys since 11." And Mac and his dad are like, "We didn't even, dude. I barely started talking to you like 10:50. I don't know who you are." The bartender decides to jump in. Ladies, is there a problem here? The brunette says, yeah, these dudes promised us a good time. Now it's too late for us to find another John. Now they talking about they don't want to pay for the good time. So the bartender asks the little blonde girl, and she's reluctant to lie, but she lies anyway. And she's like, yeah, that's exactly the story. They have wasted our time. Mac and his father are still really not picking up on this. They think this is some sort of joke. And also, I guess they're from the East Coast where they still do the most. We ain't paying nobody for nothing. Bartender says, okay, there is a black gentleman behind you. There is a dude in a three-piece suit. They finna stomp y'all out if y'all don't pay. Well, they didn't know. Mac and his dad are about that life. If Mac's father didn't bless him with anything else, he blessed him with them hands. Him and his daddy put belt to ass. They immediately stomp out these two dudes. And for the first time, I think ever in my life on network television, I've never seen anybody get mushed in the face. Now, Mac, being the younger Mac, is obviously a little stronger, so he quickly beats the brakes off a three-piece suit boy. The dad is beating up the black dude. It's taking him a little longer because he's drunk and he's older, but he gets the best of him. But he's a little bit more tired. He's recovering in the corner just a bit. Mac goes to grab him, and on the way out, Mac's dad puts his 6'2" paw right on three-piece two, three-piece suit guy's face and mushes it, pushes him back into the pool table. I've only seen that on wrestling. I've never seen that on a fight. Not even on like HBO or anything. So after the Mackenzies go home, nary a scratch on either one of them, they're fine. They put on their sleeping clothes. They kind of proud of themselves for holding their own at the fight. Okay, let me get to the good part because this is the part they're lingering over. Mac's dad has had some form of cancer, but it is in remission right now. He did tell him that at the bar as he was just pounding back all the alcohol. This makes Mac a little bit nervous. So I think he's trying to salvage the moments even more. He's already sort of made up in his mind that he wasn't going to say too much to his dad, but he'll keep having these small side conversations with Karen about his dad. So the next day, his father says, Mac, I need you to do me a favor. When the time comes, I want you to kill me. I want you to put as many pills down my throat as you can. I want you to pull a gun on me or da da da. Mac flips. He's like, okay, hold on. Here, okay, now I get it. Now I get it. Mom's gone. My sister does not talk to you anymore. I thought you came out to LA because you really loved me, because you wanted to be a part of my life finally. No, you only came out here to put the most horrific amount of pressure on my shoulders. What sort of thing is that to ask me? He's furious. His dad's true colors come out. His dad starts barking at him, and then you get to see the glimpse of maybe who this man was as Mac was growing up. Mac is smirking this whole time. He almost looks amused. I don't know if that's his way of holding it together or having a little bit of power over his dad, but his daddy ain't like it. His dad starts going off on him. Don't you talk to me like that. I'm still your father. Look at you. You think you're so tough. I'm a feeble old man. You're going to beat me? Because Mac raises his fist. I don't think he was going to do nothing. But the old man is like, he saw the old man flinch, and you can tell he kind of enjoyed it. I can tell Mac kind of enjoyed it a little bit. But he goes and he fishes out another sweater, puts it on, and he goes over to Karen's house so he can tell her what trash his father is. I also know something. We all have siblings. I know for a fact that Mac picked up the phone and made a collect call, and him and his sister talked so much ish. You know, he picked up the phone and he's like, "Girl, wake up. Let me tell you what your daddy did." Oh, now that's my daddy. That's your dad. Let me tell you about your daddy. Karen's sentiment is like, okay, if he's always acted a fool, then why are you surprised that he's acting a fool? He's just doing what he's always done. Matt goes on, he's like, no, you don't even understand. He was a horrible person. Do you know that this man he would cheat on my mom, and then he would accuse my sister, like when she went to college, he said that she banged the whole basketball team, everybody. She banged the whole football team. Every time she went out, he assumed she was banging multiple men. Now I thought, okay, you treating this. I understand why the sister cut ties immediately. She's not going to deal with that, especially now that he's old and drunk and mean. But I don't know why he and Mac made it this far. But it seems like it was just maybe he wasn't the target. It's one thing to be the target of someone's hate and then just to sort of be ignored by them. At least when you're ignored, you can fill in the blanks with whatever you want. Although the scenes are serious, it is still entertaining because this man is putting on this Irish brogue, and Mac's got this East Coast attitude. He's so blunt, but he's hurt, and I feel him. He has a right to express himself. Can you imagine the disrespect you feel if the only reason your father is talking to you because he thinks he's at the end of his life, and he's afraid that it might hurt to die. So he wants you to make it as comfortable for him as possible. Mac's like, okay, you kick rocks, drop dead. I'm gonna plug you in extra tight. I'm gonna make sure. There are a lot of cords going to you. I'm going to make sure you're alive as long as possible, you bastard. He uses the word bastard. That's what really pisses Max dad off. Okay. It is that. Did I talk about the kilts? Oh my God. I think I left out the most important part of this. When Mac's dad first arrives at Mac's apartment, he pulls out this kilt. And then he goes into this whole spiel about how he wanted to wear it to Mac's mother's funeral, but her Italian brothers told him, don't you dare embarrass my sister. Don't put that on. And he had to explain to the Italian brothers and the audience that that's part of his heritage, that he's proud to be Scottish Irish and he wanted to do that. So he's carrying this around. Mac's impressed that he's got it. He's like, okay, cool. You kind of get the feeling that he's going to leave it to Mac. That's the whole point. So Mac goes to Karen's, talks about his dad. They got together. Apparently his dad used to wear the kilt all the time. Anytime the family got together, he would put it on. He's like, you need to wear the plaids because you need to remember who you are and where you come from. That seems to be the underlying theme here. Who you are and where you come from isn't always a reflection of the people you are who you are because of the people who raised you, for better or for worse. It doesn't mean you are identical to them, but it feels like on this episode, Mac is realizing that he was a lot more like his father, and he does not want to be. Having the man in his face has forced him to sort of deal with it. All right, a couple of splashes here and there. Let's go ahead and get to this party. It seems that Abby has also recovered beautifully. She is in a wool rug and turtleneck. She looks fantastic. Gary's there too. Gary and Abby only appear on this episode so they can drop off Olivia at the block party. So Olivia's homegirl's waiting for her. Abby tells Olivia to call her when she's ready to come home. And Olivia says, "Where?" Abby's like, "Girl, you know where you live, and when you come, you're gonna come home to home." Olivia says, "No, no, no, no. Where am I calling you from? You guys basically pissed off everybody in the neighborhood. So I don't know who's gonna let me use their phone." I said, "Girl, bye. Go on, get out of here." And no sooner than she says that, Olivia sees Karen. I didn't realize that she hadn't seen Karen in a while. I guess she hadn't seen her since the hospital, but I respect it. We're gonna keep the kids out of this. That's TT baby. She is happy to see Olivia. Olivia's happy to see her. You can come over to Auntie's house anytime. Your mother and Gary can. Ooh, she can't stand them. They can't come over here, but you, baby, yeah, you can come over here anytime you want. Go get some cake. Come see Auntie if you need some money for some games. Okay, fatal mistake is made on Chip's part. This is the first time Chip's veneer has actually been chipped. CG is, of course, the star of this extravaganza. She's minding her business, just sort of taking in the scene. He's walking around with her. They're kissing behind the stage. Unfortunately, behind the stage is in front of Karen's house. So Diana, who can't manage to stay upstairs or downstairs, is looking out the window and she catches Chip kissing CG. So now she knows, okay, well, I'm not his one and only. It's like a deep kiss too. It's several kisses. It's the kind of kiss you give someone that you have a good relationship with. And speaking of relationships, Mr. Jeff Munson is early. I'm talking they're still setting up. This light of day is still up. They're still plugging in speakers and whatnot. He goes over to Val's house. Now, how he knows it's Val's house, I'm sure I don't know. Maybe he just went into everyone's house because that's what everyone seems to be doing in this episode. Jeff Munson strolls into Valeen's house like, "Dang, girl, you're a hard woman to get a hold of." She's like, I know. I'm so bad at returning phone calls. "Are you here to see CG?" He's like, "No, lady, I came to see you." He is looking her up and down and up. Thank God she got that new book money. She looks fantastic. I guess Val's house, now that I'm saying it, guys, forgive me for going back and forth so much, but this is a very confusing block party to me. It is a fair, more or less. So Val's house is the Appalachian Afghan store. They got a bunch of quilts and blankets and stuff up. So people are inside her house moving about freely because they're looking at the different throws and blankets and quilts and whatnot. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So in front of Richard's house, he's got a little bakery set up. He got croissants, he's got cakes and whatnot. People are having a good time. I love this episode. I love this episode, even though it's not just over the top. It is time for CG to perform. We get another cameo from Baby Two Names. She is eating an organic apple, probably one of the last she's ever going to have. Enjoying it. It is crisp and delicious. And as CG is singing a song, everybody is really enjoying it except Ginger. I said it once, I'll say it again. It will never, ever, ever, ever not be hilarious to me to watch Ginger dry hate on CG. The look is lethal, especially with Baby Two Names enjoying an apple. You tell she kind of want to bob her head, but she don't want to smoke with her mom. Plus, nobody's coming over to spin Ginger's wheel. It's so disrespectful. This concert is not that popular. It's all right. It's fine. It's average at best. Sadly, Mac decides to go back to his apartment to make amends with his dad, but when he gets there, the closet is empty and he begins to cry. Mac is hot. I don't know if I've said that lately, but I enjoy seeing Mac. And I don't know if I put him on my list. I feel like I need to go back and look at it again. Oh, Kenny is also there listening to CG as you would expect. And there's something about Kenny in a pastel sweater that makes him extra bold. They say when a man wears pink, there's not a whole lot you can say to him. He's bold. He's too confident. You can't tell him nothing. When a man wears a pastel sweater in SoCal with an undershirt and a button down underneath, he's bolder even still. Jeff Munson goes over to Kenny and he says, "Hey, I heard a lot about you. You're pretty awesome." Kenny's like, "I know my way around the studio, if that's what you're saying." "Yes, I know what I'm doing. Thank you." And Jeff Munson's like, "Well, I'd really like to talk to you sometime." Kenny looks him down and up and down in disgust. and says, "We just did." Walks off to a hater Ginger. The only thing that makes Ginger a little less haterishy this episode is when Lily Mae joins. When Lily Mae joins CG on the stage for a riveting rendition of By and By Lord. Cold and cloudy day. I saw CG kiss and chip and dip. Dinah's tears were rolling away. Circle be unbroken. By and by, Lord, by and by. I guess it's called Circle Be Unbroken. I just know the by and by part. Y'all, God, this was such a delight. If nothing else happened this episode, that would have been worth the weight of admission. Okay, so after the concert, after the fundraiser, this is a week block party because the block parties I've been to, come on, it wouldn't have been over till like 1. But I guess people have things to do. They've got little kids and stuff. So party's over. No one's really picking up all the garbage outside. Lily Mae realizes that she had written down all of there was an auction and she had all the numbers written down on a piece of paper and she misplaced it. So she's going outside looking for it. She's asking some rando guy who's I guess supposed to be picking up equipment but not. She asked him if he's seen a piece of paper with some numbers on it. He's like, "Yeah, I've seen that everywhere." Well, as she's skirting around, up walks Mack's daddy, and he's like, "Hey, Lily Mae, do you think you can do me a favor?" She's like, "Where the hell were you? I blew the roof off this thing. You should have been here 2, 3 hours ago. I had it jumping. You missed my songs. Where you been?" He's not really trying to hear that. He's like, "Oh, yeah, that's great. I'm so sorry that I missed your stuff. Do you think you can give this to Mack?" She's like, "No, I think you need to give it to Mack." It's a kilt, by the way, the kilt in a bag. Lily Mae, who was only recently made up with her daughter, understands what Big Mac is trying to do, or Pete, I guess his name, Pete or Pat, what he's trying to do. And she knows that this isn't how you remedy things with your kids. She tells him, "Me and Baleen weren't close. We didn't have to work this out. We had a whole lot of really, really bad years. But now we don't talk about it because we moved through it. And the reason we don't have to talk about it is because we're not repeating the same mistakes." Basically telling him, if you do this and you leave this kid, you ain't gonna never, ever, ever make it right because you're just repeating the same cycle. Meanwhile, Mac is in Karen's house. He's upset. He was in tears. He had been crying. And she's trying to comfort him about his dad. She's trying to comfort him, but she's also got to tally up the totals. You know, she runs a social circle. You know what I'm saying? Mac has put on a fresh pair of corduroys and a even fresher sweater. She says, "Mac, if you don't find him tonight, you can always go to New York and see him." Mac's like, "Over my dead body, I'm not doing that." But the truth is, he's like, "Karen, I'm just like my dad. I hate his lousy guts, but I'm just like him. Everything about me is just like him." This is where he goes into the part about not getting married and all that. Well, before he can get too deep with it, he looks out the window, same window Diana was peeking out of, and I'll be damned if he doesn't see his father and Lily Mae doing some sort of tap dance on the stage that's still erected. He can't believe it. He's like, "I'm going to go cuss him out right now." When he goes outside, Karen chasing behind him. And he's like, "You got a lot of nerve showing up here, Pete." I forgot to mention that his father has put on said kilt at this point. That probably stings a little bit more to Mac now that I'm watching this the second time around. It probably stings more because he said his dad would always put it on like for family occasions, special occasions, Christmas, things like that, or anytime the family got together. So the fact that he dipped out on him and didn't come to find Mac personally, but you got the nerve to be dancing a little jig in your kilt like it's a celebratory occasion probably hits especially hard. They, of course, have it out. Now, Karen, she wants to be supportive of Mac, but then she doesn't want to listen, but she is nosy. And Lily Mae is the neighborhood ear hustler. So she says, "Come on here, child. Let me teach you how to ear hustle from your living room. I know the spot. I know exactly where to stand. We're going to be able to hear everything." But they start getting loud. They start getting East Coast loud, I suppose. So Lily Mae and Karen turn around to listen, and the dad just lays it all out. He goes, I am sick. Matt cuts him off. You could be in remission for 20 years. You're not that sick. He's like, I'm not sick as in the leukemia. I'm sick because I love you and your sister, but I haven't done anything to earn your love back. It makes me sick to my stomach to know how I've done you all. I hate myself for who I've been and how much pain I put you in. Mac tells him just to forget it. We're past all that. I can forgive all of that. But what I can't do is watch you die. You promised me you won't die. And I'm like, oh my God, Mac. It's a powerful scene, and I'm sorry that I'm smiling through it, but he's just a little boy who wants his dad. Good, bad, or indifferent. Even the worst parts of him are still him. Don't ask me to kill you. Do not die on me, old man, okay? As long as you're moving forward, that's all they can do. That's all they can do at this point is move forward. But he almost cries again. His father ends up embracing him in the end. I love a good backstory, but like I said, there's this formula in my mind when it comes to relatives on a TV show. It's never a good thing. He doesn't seem to be awful, and I gotta say, Lily Mae turned out okay. Abby didn't, but good for TV, not for Karen. So we'll see how Mac's dad sticks around. I get the feeling he's not going to be around a long time, and I feel like Mac's going to be very, very devastated already because he was toe up. Oh, he was hurt when he goes back to that apartment and all of his dad's stuff is gone. So hopefully they can work that out. I don't know if this guy's going to be in here too much longer. And then I had to turn it off really quick because they go on the next episode. And I'm like, shut up. Can't do that. But I think I'm going to go ahead and treat myself. Now that I have recorded this, I hope you have enjoyed Season 4, Episode 13's recap of Knots Landing. Almost said May the Circle Be Unbroken. Not this one. This one was Block Party. Looks like Gigi just signed over a chunk of her revenue, which I'm very concerned about. Kenny is on one, as they say. Chip has been found out. Chip is actually one of the best villains I've ever seen. Is that an exaggeration? No, it's actually not. He's a perfect dose of, he's tall, dark, and handsome. He's very intelligent. He's a complete scumbag. He's completely self-centered, but he knows how to make you feel special, which is the most important part. But he's just young enough to where he can make these quote-unquote mistakes in business and no one's going to hold it over his head. He's in the pocket right now of being a scumbag. But his fatal mistake is that he is running game on people who are in too close proximity to one another. And now he's got Diana, and Diana, y'all know she's a nightmare. I can't imagine she's going to make his life any better, but Lily Mae will comfort him. Diana used to help him out, or I mean, as of this episode, she's still helping him out. I hope she repossesses his car. Trying to figure out how he's going to get kicked out of Lily Mae, or excuse me, it's not Lily Mae's house. That is Vidalia's house. Wonder if he's going to get kicked out of there. It doesn't seem like he would. Actually, I guess he hadn't really been found out because CG already knew he was with Diana. Lily Mae knows that too. I don't know if they have that kind of relationship, but she's definitely very fond of him. She knows he runs around with both of them. So it seems like Diana is a wild card, and I think he picked the right run on the wrong day. All right, guys, that's it. That's all. I hope you'll join me on the next episode of Soap Lore, where we dive back into another piece of vintage primetime gold. In the meantime, in between time, help me sign a petition to get Lily Mae's Time Country on iTunes. If you don't, you are a dry hater just like Ginger. Stay hydrated, stay moisturized, mind your own business, and keep all of your drama on TV.